Hi everyone, Wayne Soul here and welcome to another vinyl review. It's been about 8 months since I've been doing these with you, and with all the things going on, lockdown, all that sort of stuff, it's just been a little bit difficult. So I've just been up to Port Macquarie, which is a little bit north of Sydney, about 4 hours, and northern New South Wales, and I've been to see a few collectors and been to a few record stores. So I managed to pick up 5 albums. This is a bit of a mixed bag, and I'm going to be bringing you those over the next couple of months. First album I found was one that I was really excited to get hold of, Will the Circle Be Unbroken Volume 2. So the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band did an album in the early 70s. It was a triple LP set, and they tried to capture the sounds of a lot of the 50s bluegrass and country artists of the day. Got them back in the studio and did a sensational album, and this one here follows on from that. This was done in the 80s. Volume 2, I don't know if Volume 3 ever got released on vinyl, but it's on CD. This one has Roy Acuff, the Carter family, Johnny Cash, John Denver, Emmylou Harris, Levon Helm from the band, Chris Hillman from the Byrds, Bruce Hornsby, John Prine, they're all on here. And these two albums make up an absolute treasure of country and bluegrass artists. So if you can get Volume 1, it's well worth getting. Volume 2 is a little bit harder to find, but I think the two of these are perfect for your collection as far as keeping you in touch with what was happening in the 50s, 60s and 70s. And even if you're not a country fan, I think you'll really love this album. The next one I found was one that I've been looking for a long while, and it was the Beach Boys live in London. So by 1968, the Beach Boys weren't exactly in fashion. They had Pet Sounds, one of their, probably the most popular album they ever released. Brian Wilson isn't touring with them at this stage, but by 1968 they toured London and they do some sensational versions of their hits. Darlin', Sloop John B, California Girls, Do It Again, which was the single at the time. Bluebirds Over the Mountains, Good Vibrations, and God Only Knows, and they do great live versions of these. I'm always a little bit sceptical of live albums, and there's been some great live albums that have come out and also some that haven't been so good, but this one is worth having in your collection. It's the Beach Boys live in London. So I was really happy to get that one. The next one is by an Australian band, Country Radio. So if you're familiar with the music of the band and some of those country rock artists of the 70s, you really like Country Radio. And they released this album. It was done in a studio with a small audience, so it's very well recorded and it captures a lot of their hits as well as album tracks. And what you'll find in here, it's got the usual band members, the Greg Quill, who was the main vocalist, played the guitar here, and they do some Lonesome Picker, Never Going Back to Nashville. Well, that was done by John Sebastian. We've got Gypsy Queen, which was a big hit for them. Last Time Around, Winter Song, another big hit. And you'll find that this album is a great country rock album by, I think, one of the premier live bands, Australian bands of the 70s. Country Radio. If you can find it anywhere, grab it, because it's very hard. I've had a bit of a hard time trying to get hold of that one. The next one is one that I've seen around, but I haven't actually been able to track it down. So this one here is the best of the Dave Clark 5. So they were around during the British invasion, up against the Beatles and Herman's Hermits and all those bands, great bands that came around in the late 60s. This is their greatest hits. So you've got 14 tracks. Glad All Over, Do You Love Me, Catch Us If You Can, Bits and Pieces are all on here. Also includes Live in the Sky, which was one of their last singles, and you don't find that one on many greatest hits collections. There's been a few CD releases in recent years. Up until a good 10 years ago, Dave Clark hadn't released to the public any studio recordings of the Dave Clark 5, so it was good to see them come out on CD and remastered and that sort of thing. But this one is a really great compilation of their greatest hits on EMI. Yeah, beautiful album, this one. The last one I wanted to mention was by another Australian band, is Midnight Oil, Breathe. I got this one brand new from JB Hi-Fi, and it's one of the albums that often gets overlooked amongst the Midnight Oil album list. But Breathe is a very, very good album. At the time, I don't think it sold in huge amounts, but now it's become a favourite amongst Midnight Oil fans, and I think you'll like this one, and because Midnight Oil made it big in Europe and the US and did an unplugged session and everything, so I think most of you around the world will know this band. This one has Underwater, Surf's Up Tonight, which was the single. Another great song is Star of Hope and Gravel Rash. So this is a really good album, and this is Breathe by Midnight Oil. So I'll see you next week with some more music that I've been picking up while I've been travelling around. So look after yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye.